Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joffy Noodle Legs here today with another Noodle film review. And today we're looking at a different kind of horror film. This is a sort of cop horror slasher film that I picked up a few days ago, and it's Sylvester Stallone in D-Tox. Now this is an '88 film release, comes with the slipcase. It comes with the Blu-ray, and it also comes with a sort of photo booklet of the film. Now the film, it came out, I believe it might have been late 90s, maybe the early 2000s. Don't know. Please don't correct me down below in the comments. I don't need it. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I'm not looking for your facts, and I don't claim to be exact. So I'm just an old man playing around with videos, all right? So no need to correct me in my videos down below. Now the story starts off with like a sort of montage in the titles of this killer. Now he's a cop killer. He's going around killing cops. So when we sort of join the main film, we're at a bar and we see Sylvester Stallone with his colleagues at work, because I think it's like I don't know what they're actually celebrating, but he's brought a ring for his girl to get engaged to. So it could be that, I don't know. But they're having a sort of a chat, and one of them brings up about why, because I think Sylvester Stallone is a Fed. He's an FBI agent, and these are like his old sort of cop friends. And one of them's asking, why haven't you caught him? You know, if it would have been like FBI agents being killed, they would have caught him by now. But as it's just normal cops, they haven't bothered. So they have a good bit of a take argument about it. And all the other guys are saying, come on, this is supposed to be a celebration sort of thing. And so in the end, it sort of calms down a bit, and Sylvester Stallone buys them all drinks and things like that. We then cut to Sylvester Stallone getting home, and he arrives home, and his fiance, well, it's not fiance yet, he hasn't got engaged yet, has prepared a meal, and he has obviously come home late, and she's asleep on the sofa, wrapped up in police tape, you know, do not touch sort of thing. But anyway, so they have a sort of like a bit of a jibber jabber, and nothing harsh, and she's quite forgiving, quite nice. And so that's kind of cool. And he's bought this silly sort of like little monkey thing that claps a cymbal, which I actually quite like. I do like silly things like that. We then cut to the police officer that was sort of kind of arguing with Sylvester Stallone, arriving home, worse for wear, drunk. So he gets home and goes in, and there's a knock on his door, and he looks through his peephole, and then a drill comes through into his eye, and then his door gets knocked down, and then he's brutally sort of killed. So we've got another dead cop on our hands. So that's like about 9 or 10 now. And this is a bit of a merciless killer, because when we see like the crime scene, like the next day, he's kind of pinned him up, hanging him from the roof with his arms and legs sort of folded in. And he's sort of like pinned up with like a police sort of baton through his mouth. It's quite grim and gruesome. But yeah, so Sylvester Stallone turns up at the investigation, and wanting to know why they can't cut him down. Obviously, it's a crime scene, and the forensics are still doing tests and everything before they can actually cut his body down. But Sylvester Stallone wants him cut down, but they won't do it till he's ready. And then there's a phone call at the at this victim police officer's house, and it's for Sylvester Stallone. I think his name is Mahoney. Mahoney, I think his name is in the film, and the phone call's for him. And so he goes to answer it, and it's the killer. you know, and the killer sort of pretty much says to him that all these killings are because of him. Apparently, years ago, there was something that he didn't solve. Um, that this killer is sort of like killing everybody off that he knows, to sort of like against him, and he's at his home where his girlfriend is. So then all the police rush on to the house where his girlfriend is. So Sylvester Stallone is sort of like begging to him, please don't hurt her, don't hurt her. Anyway, the police turn up at her house, and she's been killed. The same sort of way with the drill through the eye, but this time she's been hung by the neck, and she's dead. So this devastates sort of like Sylvester Stallone. We then cut to like 3 months later, and he's got now like a really heavy drink problem. I don't think he's been at work. I think he's had time off, and he's got a heavy drink problem. Now his boss, his sergeant or captain, this sort of big black dude, is really cool, really nice character, is trying to look out for him, and he tells him about this sort of rehab thing, a detox thing, which is made for cops, run by cops, for cops that have got these sort of problems, and he's trying to persuade him to go to this sort of thing, you know, it'll be good for you, but he doesn't want to know. But then it gets to a point when he's so low down that you see him in his sort of like his house, where he's almost trying to kill himself with a knife, Sylvester Stallone, and obviously that's probably his last straw. And then he decides to follow the policeman's advice and go to this detoxing, and then they arrive, which is in this like real sort of snow, heavy snowed area, and it's almost like an old sort of like almost looks like a World War II sort of like structure, but like an old sort of prison sort of thing. It's a very strange structure, very, very strange architecture. But they've arrived, and then they go in and they meet the boss of the place, who's played by Chris Christopherson. And apparently there's a group of these police officers that are all there for the same sort of reasons. Something dramatic's happened to them, and they've gone there because they've got maybe drug or drink problems or whatever problems it is. They're all there to do this sort of detox and sort of rehab, where they have sort of like chats and discuss each other's problems and try and air it out, you know, like a normal sort of like a sort of group, I suppose, but they all sort of stay and live there. And we see them all having this meeting and stuff like that, and we get a glimpse of the beautiful area they are, and it's like a big massive lake in there, and in the lake there's a body. Now this body is supposed to have been one of the cops that were attending this detox thing, but he's been killed. So someone there isn't who he should be. And then the film turns into a slasher film, and all the cops there start getting bumped off one by one. So Sylvester Stallone has to try and figure out what's going on, who the killer is. So it turns into like a normal sort of horror slasher. It's really, really sort of like a great way of like a different direction for the slasher film, which I really, really, really liked. It takes it's around that sort of era when we had sort of Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legends. It was all made around that sort of time, so it's got that kind of feel to it, but from a cop's perspective. And I don't think there's enough cop horror films. I will look into it and maybe do a top 10, because there are some, obviously Maniac Cop and Seven and Silence of the Lambs and all this kind of thing. There are sort of cop horror films out there, and I need to sort of like get into and find out and maybe get a list of good ones for you and do a top 10 or a top 8, whatever I can find in my collection, because I said there's not many and I think it's something that they should do more of. You know, cops coming across horror. It's amazing. What do I think of the film? It's fantastic. It's a great film. It's a great slasher film. It starts off like I said, like it's a normal sort of cop serial killer sort of film, because it is a serial killer film as well. But it turns into a slasher, and it's such a really cool sort of there's so many cool elements to it. Like when they're all in this sort of isolated thing, it's almost a bit like the Thing, where they're all like don't trust each other, and they lock each other in the rooms and stuff like this to find out who the killer is. So it's got elements of the Thing in there, not with the gore of the creatures, but with the sort of that sort of premise of like who is it, who's done it, and it's got like bits like I know you did last summer, Scream, all that going on. It's got things like Seven. It's got some great combinations of horrors all in one package, and it works really well. The pluses of the film, the transfer that 88 film done is good. It's really cool, really nice and clear. It's a great cast. It's got Tom Berenger, Chris Christopherson. It's got the guy that played the villain in Terminator 2. It's got a great big cast in there. And there's even a British actor in there. His name, I've seen him in so many things, but it's gone. But it's got a big cast. And it's really well made. And it's fast paced. It's really fast paced. It's not a slow burn. There's no slow burn in it at all. I said, we've got all these killings going on, then his partner's killed, then he's down, then he's at this place, and then these killings happen. And it all moves really good paced, and that's really cool. Negatives, just a bit more gore. There is a tiny little bit of gore in it, but not a lot. The killings are cool, but it's just like, would have been cool if it's a bit gorier. So that's the only sort of negative I can give to it. I'm going to score the film a great film and give it an 8 out of 10. It's a really good entry into the slasher genre because it's a different take on it. And I really highly recommend watching it if you've never seen it. And that's D-Tox. 8 out of 10. Have any of you guys seen it? Let me know what you thought of it down below. Probably a lot of you have, because it's Sylvester Stallone. It's a big budget kind of film. And it was good to see a studio, I think it's made by Universal, actually make a decent slasher film with a good strong cast. I don't believe Sylvester Stallone sort of thought it was going to be a horror film, but yeah, it's the only horror film I've known him to be in. I think he probably thought it was just another sort of cop film, but it's actually a horror film, and it's really cool, great fun. Guys, check out some horror channels for me for my next video. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzlewell, I Am Ice Lord, Grumpy Andrews Horror House, really cool. Cat Watches Horror, Sarah of Horror, great channels. Horror and Todge, all good channels. Please go and check them out, guys. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.